You're listening to the Cantina Cast, your home for thought-provoking Star Wars talk. Join Albert and Jonesy in breaking down the latest news, trailers, movies, and of course, your favorite characters from a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cantina Cast. My name is Albert Padilla, and this is the first in a series of short episodes we're calling Road to Celebration. So, as you all may know by now, Jonesy and I are going to be on the podcast stage at Celebration this year. But what you may not know is we're going to be joined by a few folks from the Ear Glue Media Networks, like some of the shows like The Basement, Bad Gamers Anonymous, Smoking and Drinking in Space. And so we thought we'd put together a short series of episodes that way you could kind of put a name to a face if you're planning on going out and attending any of our podcast show or Celebration or any of the events that we've got planned, after the shows or even sometimes before. So we'll get to that later down the road as we work our way closer to Celebration. And we thought it'd be only appropriate and fitting that we start with an oldie but goodie, if you will. He's the
I don't know if I'm good. I don't know if I'm
the founder of Cantina Cast, as well as the main host for this show ever since its inception, really. And today he's the show's editor and producer. He's also the CEO and founder of the Power Podcast Network, Ear Glue Media. And I am, of course, referring to none other than the Dark Lord of podcasting. Please welcome Mike Rondeau. Mikey, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. There's too many titles behind my name, like made up titles. That's that's a tongue tying thing. So
there was more. I had to trim it down. There was just too many to go through. But
just stick with Dark Lord of podcasting. That works. That's very easy to say, and it's very true. So
it's very, very appropriate.
Yes.
And I've got to say, it's a bit surreal, honestly. As I was, putting these show notes together, I'm thinking this is just kind of weird that as a former listener and show supporter that, I'm here and you're there. So thank you for doing this. So I think it's important.
Well, it is a little trippy. I was just thinking about it the other day because we're closing in on a year since my semi-retirement of leaving the Cantina Cast as the host. And it's actually been around this time that you and I kind of stopped doing the show together. Like we were doing the show together and then Jonesy came along and then it kind of went from there. So this is like around the time when you and I stopped doing it where it was you and I. And this will be fun. This is like old times, sort of. Old
Getting
but
the band
new.
back together.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was fun times. It's been an interesting year, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I thought we would start with, again, this show is really just to kind of, for people to get to know you. Probably if you're listening to this show or if you've been listening to the show for any regularity here over the last couple of years, they're probably familiar with it. But we know that we've picked up some new listeners, especially with all the announcement for Celebration and some of the promotions and stuff that we've been doing. So we thought we'd kind of let people see who you are and get to know you.
No, you don't want to get to know me. You don't want to know who I am. No.
I heard it's a very dark place from what I understand.
Very dark, very, very dark.
But let's start with the history of the Cantina Cast, if we could. This show was very different when you started it, and not only in its host composition, but the show's format as well. Can you maybe tell us about how long ago did we officially get this show on the road here? What inspired you to create the show? And how did it all kind of come together for you?
Wow, this is a question that I haven't answered in quite a long time. And there was someone in Discord who was very curious about it, actually. One of our new Discord peeps. No one says peeps anymore, but apparently I am.
Around Easter time they do.
Yeah, okay. Well, it works. So they asked me, how did this all come about? And, well, it really comes down to me conning my best friend Brian into doing this. And it goes back, and I know why you brought this up, because you wanted me to talk about SOTOR. That's really where you wanted to go. You wanted me to get into that. So we'll get there. So I want to say prior to 2011, when we first, maybe like a year before that, Brian and I would meet up and we'd have our cigar smoking, and I'm sure Crowley's smiling at that right now. And we'd just sit there and talk about, regular geeky stuff. And then Brian knows I'm a big Star Wars fan, so we started talking about the MMO. And I started getting into it. And at the time, I was listening to, I think, the Force Cast. And then I started listening to all these other Star Wars The Old Republic podcasts and stuff. And as time marched on, I said, I could do this.
I can do this.
Why, for some reason, I got bear muscles and I decided, I can do this. And so then one day in April, I guess the official birthday of the Cantina Cast is actually April 17th, because that's when we decided to do it. I always go by May 16th, 2011 as our first. That's when our first episode hit. So that's when I always go by our birthday because that's when we were actually live and things happened. So on April 17th, I remember we were sitting on his back porch. We had a few cigars and then we decided to go for it. And, back then it was all about SOTOR. That was the big thing. We got started and the rest is really history. And the game, I remember the game came out and we liked it for like a month or two. And then the game was horrible. And then, we ended the show and yeah.
So did you guys change anything as that time went on? And I know there was a period in there where it kind of went away and it came back almost, very similar, I guess, in form or in spirit as it is today.
No, not really. I mean, when we started going like into the fall, like getting closer to the thing, Brian decided to leave. So I had another host with me and we were doing that and that worked out. Then he had a problem and he left. So it was just me and Brian again. And then we didn't podcast for a little bit. And then we decided, all right, let's just go out on a bang. Episode 21. It's fitting for the Cantina, the whole age
21 or older.
Yeah, exactly. So we figured we'd do that. And then and this is why it started when we came back with episode 22. Because I took like a year off. After that ended, I took like 10 months off or whatever, tried to figure things. I'm like, all right, I don't want to do this. Do I really want to do this? And then something kept gnawing at me to want to do this. And the rest is history. And we came back and we changed the format of the show where it's more Star Wars. I will say this. Before the game out, I'd say that November of 2011, we started talking more about the Clone Wars and just general Star Wars stuff. So it was starting to get there. And then we decided to go and dissect things and do all that whole kit and caboodle there. So
right.
That's pretty much it. That's how it happened. And here we are. We've survived all these years somehow without, everybody killing each other and stuff. It all worked out in the end.
That's great. And so those first 20 episodes,
yes,
I know people have asked for them time and time again. I've been privy to listen to a few of them myself. I won't say how, although you know how.
If you really wanted to hunt it down, you could find them. And Albert, he just has to do these things.
Have to do. It was a mission. Challenge accepted.
Yeah. Well, at some point I might release them. I mean, they're really irrelevant and they're not anything special, but maybe for the 10-year anniversary of the Cantina Cast, I'll just release them just as a bonus thing and just to see where we've come from to where we are, one of those types of things. Right. They're really not that special, especially because that content isn't really relevant at all because, SOTOR is horrible and, I know you still play SOTOR and all that, but that content I guess it's a time capsule in the sense that leading up to it, because I remember the big thing was, when's the game coming? When's the game coming? When's the date? When's the release date? When's the release? That was like the biggest thing for months. So it would be interesting to go back and listen to it. But then again, I really don't want to hear myself on episode 1 was just awful.
So fast forward to 2018. This brings us up until what you mentioned earlier. You stepped away from this show altogether to kind of focus on Ear Glue Media in some personal projects that you had kind of rattling around in your head there, like Manny Faces of the Masters of the Universe. But what was that transition like for you? What was it like to kind of step away, walk away from all that and have this new path ahead of you?
I got to be honest, it was very peaceful. I didn't really have it. It was, and maybe that's a lot of credit to you and Jonesy for being the classy guys that you guys were. And you guys picked it up pretty well when I kind of handed it off to you guys, and you guys just went with it, and you guys have grown quite a bit. I get to enjoy it as I edit the show. I can listen to you guys grow and change things and kind of all these nuances that are happening and stuff. And it's great. I loved it. And it doesn't bother me. I thought it was going to. Like, I really thought it was going to be like, why did you walk away? This is your baby and everything. But to be honest, from a content perspective, it needed a fresher perspective. Like the Cantina Cast was getting kind of stale. So it was a good thing for my health as well, in my mentality, because I was starting to go off the edges myself there. And it was good to walk away and kind of recharge your batteries and kind of focus on getting you guys to where you needed to be. And you guys picked it up pretty quickly. And then the funniest thing was I could go back and do a little pet project that it started as a joke, and here we are. So it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I actually it's been refreshing. I'm recharged. I like jumping in like now, having a conversation with you about Star Wars or whatnot, and it's fun.
So in addition to editing and producing the Cantina Cast, you've had your hands in a number of other shows, and I don't know that everybody really knows that. Both, inside our network.
This is why I'm the Dark Lord of podcasting. You can't tell everyone where my fingers are. No, just kidding.
Both inside and outside of our network too. We're not just talking about shows that are part of Earglue Media. So, to someone kind of wanting to get started in podcasting, what are some of the lessons that you've learned over the years that you'd pass on?
I would say be very patient. Don't think you're getting into this and think you're going to get thousands of downloads right away. You're going to struggle. You're going to wonder what the hell you're doing many, many times. Mm-hmm. Just keep the faith and just stick with it. Other than that, my other advice would be don't even do it. That's pretty much it, because you're going to drive yourself absolutely batty doing this.
Yeah, it can be a labor of love, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely. I mean, I love doing it.
In it.
Yeah, your heart's got to be in it. See, with me, my heart's in the podcasting, but Star Wars, it drained me quite a bit because of a lot of other things. I'm not going to get into it here. But I also needed, again, the show needed a fresh perspective, and I wanted to go do other things. I love Star Wars a lot, but I love a lot of other things too. So I wanted to go and do those things as well, and it was just the right time. So, but I say create a podcast, go for it, but just realize it's not going to be as easy as you think it is, as I thought it was back in 2011. Oh, I know how to do it. I'll just do it. They can do it. Anyone can do it. There's a learning curve, and you're going to have to learn to do everything yourself. That's my advice.
That's probably good advice. And I can tell you, I can attest, even with all of your help, there were things that I just had to figure out on my own.
You have to. Yeah, I mean, I can only show and do things so much. You kind of got to go with it at times and just say, all right, I got to fall on my face and just kind of learn from it. I had to.
All right, let's shift over to Celebration just for a bit here. How many celebrations is this for you now? And apart from the Cantina Cast being on the podcast stage, how does this one feel different for you personally, given where your Star Wars fandom is and maybe Star Wars popularity in general today?
Well, this is my second one, actually. I could have went to, what was it? I think Orlando. I could have went to Orlando. I was going to go, but then I decided not to go at the last minute. And there was one before Anaheim, too. I could have went to that one, and I decided not to. There's always been like, I got the ticket, I'm going to go, and I never go. But Anaheim was my first one. This will be my second one. And the interesting thing now is because I've stepped away, that going 100 miles an hour in covering Star Wars and dissecting things isn't there anymore. So I'm hoping I can enjoy it a little bit more. And it'll be an interesting thing seeing you and Jonesy up on the podcast stage doing that. I feel like a proud papa watching you two do your thing there. So,
thanks, Pops.
Yeah, I know. So I feel like the old man. I'm so proud of him. So it'll be fun just to see that and see what happens and see how you guys react to that when people are looking at you, because that's always an interesting thing. But as far as I don't know, I'm hoping it seems like this is going to be a ho-hum celebration to me, but I'm hoping for a big something I hope I get pleasantly surprised is what I'm hoping for. And all the panels, I'm looking forward to just checking things out, see what's going on.
Do you have a memorable moment from Celebration as an attendee the last time you went, and what would that be and why?
There was a few of them. I would say, podcasting at night, every night in the hotel lobby, because we didn't get invited to the podcast stage the first time there. I couldn't imagine why, but we were, we decided, all right, we just got a podcast in the lobby, the hotel lobby. We got together, and we just started podcast. People walking by wondering what the heck we're doing. We did that like every night, and that was awesome. I loved it. You can go back and listen to on the episodes there. It was pretty fun. You had the ambiance, people talking in the background. We had celebrities walking by as we were doing it. It was the weirdest experience and was probably one of my favorites. The other one would probably be seeing the Force Awakens trailer drop. And just that whole, I've talked about it before on the show. It was an amazing, amazing moment. We'd all been waiting for it for such a long time. And that trailer is probably still the best sequel trailer to date, in my mind. The other one would be with my friend Becca. We went to the Rebels, the season premiere there. We got to go see that. We got a special look at the first 2 episodes of that first season. That was pretty cool because we got the whole reserve thing on the back of our chairs. It was kind of cool the first time around. So those are probably some of my favorite moments. And then just meeting people is always the interest. And that's actually, I'm looking really forward to that, is meeting all of you. I've known Crawley, or Bad Gamer Anonymous there, Crawley. I've known him for just as long as I've been doing this, like 8 years, and I've never met him. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, in person, right?
Yeah, in person. I've never met him in person, so this will be. He's picking me up from the airport, so that'll be interesting. Hopefully, he doesn't drive like he does in Far Cry 5, because that won't be pretty. But
Right. Cool. So as a former Celebration attendee, do you have any words of wisdom or advice that you'd want to share with somebody that's maybe going for the first time, kind of like myself? Is there anything that us first timers need to be made aware of?
Don't get too disappointed on not seeing everything. That's the sad part, is you're not going to see everything. Like
this is like Disneyland or Disney World, right?
Yeah,
you're not going to see it in one day.
Yeah, that's the sad part. I mean, I know. Yeah, but see, you could always go back to the ride at Disney World like the next day. Here, it's like you got one panel here and then another panel like within an hour of that, but you have to wait in line to get in there. So it's a bit challenging. You have to decide, all right, I want to go to do this, and that's what I'm going to go do. There isn't much downtime, I guess you could say, in between like panels, the ones that you want to see. So just be patient, realize you're not going to see everything. Don't get bummed out. And that's pretty much all I could really say. Just have fun, and enjoy as much as you can. And it'll be fun. It'll be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the Cantina Cast show aside, what stage, announcement, panel, what are you looking forward to most, and why?
I would say the episode 9 trailer. Yeah. And I don't know if because me with episode 8, I wasn't exactly thrilled about it. Mm-hmm. I'm still on the fence about it. I mean, there was some good things, there's some bad things, a lot of whatever things. So I'm just curious how it's going to go with this. Like, is it going to pull me back in the sense of like getting excited? Because right now I'm not really all that thrilled, but I'm hoping to be wowed again. So I'm hoping for like that Force Awakens trailer that I saw a few years back, and that kind of gets me fired up again. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm curious because I want to see how the fandom is, because we're so split supposedly about this whole, with the Last Jedi, and then to see where we go with this episode 9 trailer and how the fans are going to react and how it's going to be. So it'll be very interesting. I guess looking outside, looking in, I guess, if you could say, like just observing that. Yeah. But I guess, a lot of, of course, the panel with you guys and our other podcasting friends on their panels as well. Well, there's on the podcast stage. Mm-hmm. But not too much other. Maybe the Fallen Jedi panel and hanging out with Crowley at the SOTOR booth might be fun. But yeah, not too much, because they haven't announced a lot of, as the time we're recording this. There's not a lot of, other than the Galaxy's Edge panel. I got to see the Clone Wars panel. I think that's the one I'm most looking forward to, is the Clone Wars one myself.
Yeah.
That's probably the one I want to see the most right now, as it stands.
All right, that's fair. So as you know, this year marks the 20th anniversary of The Phantom Menace. And I just want to ask you, where does this movie sit with you on a personal level? And what was that experience like for you? What have you always remembered most about either the opening night or maybe even the time kind of leading up to that?
I remember getting very excited going up to it. And these were the early days of the internet. So I remember going to StarWars.com. I remember buying things, getting super excited. I remember going to the toy store, and I still got the Darth Maul and Anakin Skywalker action figure of it. I still have them in their little packaging and everything. And I don't know how they survived 20 years without me opening them up or getting damaged in between that.
Right.
Back when I was in my 20s, I really didn't care about that stuff. I was busy drinking and chasing all women and stuff, and didn't care about my action figures so much. So how they survived, I do not know. But yeah, what I remember is I hate waiting in lines, especially back in the day.
And that's like you had to do.
Yeah, and I didn't go opening night. I went the next day, like mid-afternoon. Like I went at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and I saw it, and I didn't have a big problem with it. So it was weird because I couldn't do that now. Like it's so weird. Like you fast forward to 2011, 2013 or whatever, and The Force Awakens coming out in 2015, and I have to be right then and there. Same thing with The Last Jedi, Rogue One, and everything. I could not be in that line, so it was funny. Although The Revenge of the Sith, I did see opening night in Attack of the Clones too. That switched, but I remember that first time. I'm like, well, everyone's going to be there, and I didn't want to deal with that. So I just, which is weird. It seems so weird for me to even say that, but it was a different time.
Yeah, because the tickets went on sale like 2 weeks, the Wednesday before the release. It was like 2 weeks prior to. You had to stand in line to buy your tickets, and then you actually got to the show, and that's when we had people camping out. I was one of those for Phantom Menace. I didn't camp out a long time, but I was there. I think the day before. I had a little tent that I put up, and there were a number of people. I wasn't the first in line. Right, there were tons of people that had already been there for 3-4 days. Some cities you saw lines that were 7 weeks long, and thank God we have the internet now where we can purchase tickets in advance and get assigned seating, right?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, it's only been 20 years. The funny thing is, I started my day job that year too, 20 years ago. So it's a very when because you get into this whole reflecting mode of your life here when you're in your 40s, and you're like, wow, that went by real quick, and it just seems like a whole other lifetime ago now. The Phantom Menace, and it wasn't that far away. I mean, only 20 years. That's not that far. But and then you think of the special effects and everything we have now, and how that propelled everything to be where it is today. And it's an amazing thing when you think about it and step back. It's just it's weird sometimes when you look back.
All right. So before we wrap up, what's something people should know about you when they meet you?
I'm usually shy. I know that sounds, I know.
That's weird.
Is
that true?
Yeah, I'm kind of an introvert. I'm really not, I'm not this personable in person, to be honest. I'm usually, I keep to myself. I don't, I'm not really, I go out of my way to say, hey, but you never know. You get a beer in me, I might be quite chatty. So, but yeah, I am friendly. I might look like I got this scowl on my face, but I'm really not. I can't help how I look, but for the most part,
we don't blame you. We don't hold that against you.
Yeah. So, but for the most part, I'm shy.
All right. Well, there you go. So if you're listening to this and you see the shy guy in the corner, that's most likely Mike Rondeau.
Or I'm just plotting my world domination of Ear Glue Media. So
marking the exits.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
But after 5 minutes of talking to you, I kind of open up, and then you can't shut me up.
Yeah. No, we know that. All right.
Yeah.
So final question, sir.
Okay.
What's next for Mike Rondeau, and where can people find you or follow you? What's going on with you?
Well, the first thing, if you want to follow me, you just go to Podcaster Mike on Instagram, because that's where the only social media that I use is really Instagram. I don't really care about Twitter or anything else. So I post a picture and that's it. It's pretty simple. What else is going on for me next? Well, I got to finish Many Faces season 1. I got to finish that up pretty soon before Jonesy and Crawley throw something at me. And then from there, it's just planning season 2. And I've mentioned that the season of Darth Vader, I want to do that, but that's on hold for now because we got to do the celebration stuff. And I got to work out some of the Ear Glue Media stuff. And that's pretty much it at the moment. I still have some other podcast ideas going on, and Crawley yells at me because I'm throwing out 400 different podcast ideas, and I need to slow down and do other things. I shouldn't be planning out all these podcasts, but he'll probably kill me for even airing the dirty laundry here. But that's pretty much it. Just being Mr. CEO, editor, and kind of helping you guys get along and do your thing. So that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, good. We're looking forward to all of that, and we're definitely looking forward to, I'm looking forward personally to finally meeting you in person, as well as Jonesy and Crowley and everybody else from the Ear Glue Media team. I think that's going to be a really great experience for all of us, especially as, on the cusp of just having started the network and all the work that everybody's put into it. So especially because we're all sharing a house. It's like real world Chicago. I can't even talk. Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. We're definitely going to be this is going to be a bonding moment. Let's just put it that way. That'll be interesting.
I'm just worried about how much of Joe we're going to see, to be honest. So.
Well, yeah, Joe. Good old Joe.
All right, Mike. Well, all right. I know I've said this on the show before, but honestly, sincerely, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can assure you that I speak for Jonesy here as well. Just thanks for, putting the Cantina Cast together all those years ago. And as a listener, those shows got me through so many different things in my life, right? Just getting caught up in the time that I had alone, having somebody there to kind of listen to and speak to at times. I mostly yelled at you, but whatever.
Well, I know. I get that now. So yeah, it's cool.
But it was a great time. And having spoken to other people either in Discord or just through the process of hosting the show now, I know that story is true from a lot of other folks as well. Those shows, believe it or not, had impacts on lives, and that's probably the best thing you could hope for, right? As a creator, to be able to kind of influence or just be there for somebody.
I certainly do, but it's certainly it's just like when you look back on your life and you like with the Phantom Menace and everything. And I look back on this and where it all started on a back porch, smoking a cigar and just kind of half, whatever. And here we are now at, we're well-established podcast now. And now we have a network of it. And then there's other shows that are out and about there because I had this idea one day. It's crazy, trippy thing to think about. And it keeps me going. I have to say that. Even when I want to give up sometimes because it can drive you freaking nuts. But anyway.
All right. Well, again, and last thing is thank you. Thank you for giving Jonesy and I the opportunity to do all this. And because without that, we wouldn't be going to Celebration. So,
well, to be honest, if you and Jonesy didn't come along, there wouldn't be anything anyway. Right. So, it all works out. It all washes each other. So it worked out.
All right, sir. Well, with that, we'll end the show right here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Again, Mike, thanks for being here tonight. And Jonesy's got the next episode coming up. He's going to have both Crowley and Joe from Ear Glue Media. They're two hosts from Bad Gamers Anonymous. He'll have them on the next show, and we've got a couple more planned. Again, these are bonus episodes that we'll have coming to you as part of our Road Celebration events. And if you'd like to know more, of course, you can follow us on all our social media pages. There's a ton of stuff out there. I won't name it here. You'll probably see it in the show notes.
Yes.
Yep. And don't forget, you can go out to Ear Glue Media and click on the Star Wars Celebration link up at the top. And you can sign up to listen and get emails about all of our events. So we've got some events that are planned after the shows. I think we've got 3 planned, and we've got in the evening. I think we've got 1 planned in the morning. So if you do want to connect and just kind of socialize with some of the folks.
I didn't even know about that wormhole thing or whatever the heck you guys were doing. I didn't even know about this morning
top
thing.
Secret.
Yeah,
top
I know.
secret.
I shouldn't have said anything. Oops, I'm going to get in trouble.
But yeah, hit the link and sign up for that. We will. You can get on the email list. We've already sent one out, and we'll keep you guys posted. So until then, we hope to see you all in Chicago, and we'll talk to you very soon.
You're still listening? Wow. That's amazing. Well, I'm here to give you the disclaimer. Normally we do a big, long, drawn-out disclaimer thing saying what's what and who's what and all that other stuff, but I think you guys kind of know that Lucasfilm and Disney have no affiliation with us at all, and we have none with them. We talk about Star Wars, which is their property, and all that other good, fun stuff, but I think you can tell which is our stuff and which is their stuff. If you can't, well, then send a lawyer to send an email to me, and I'll be glad to chat with them. Other than that, you know what's what, so that's your disclaimer.